up, guys? EJ here, back with another video, and today it's going to be my weekly movie review roundup, episodes 32 and 33, because it of course covers the last couple weeks. So yeah, I've got nine movies to talk about. Last week was a good week. The first week not so much. So anyway, let's get started. So first, on July 6th, Wednesday, I watched Hail Caesar, the latest offering from the Coen brothers. I'm a big fan of the Coen brothers, Joel and Ethan Coen, who of course co-wrote and co-directed this movie, starring really good cast, Josh Brolin, George Clooney, Tilda Swinton, Scarlett Johansson. Yeah, and I love films about old Hollywood, so I was really expecting to like this film a lot, but I gotta say I was sort of gravely disappointed. Josh Brolin plays a studio executive running this studio, Capitol Studios or something they call it, and he's trying to keep all his directors and actors in line. George Clooney plays the sort of head leading role type. He's on a big Roman epic, hence the name of the film, Hail Caesar, that he's working on, and then he gets kidnapped by a bunch of communists, and there's a whole bunch of other storylines going on involving other productions and other actors. There's like a young actor who they bring on to a film that's being directed by a British director played by Ralph Fiennes. Yeah, like I said, really good cast. Tilda Swinton plays two roles. She plays a Hollywood gossip columnist and a regular sort of news journalist, but she looks the same in both roles, and she appears like right after each other in the same scenes. Yeah, Jonah Hill, Channing Tatum are in the film as well. Small parts. But I gotta say, like I said, it was kind of disappointing. I'm a big fan of the Coen brothers. The whole thing just didn't work. It was, yeah, I was really expecting a lot more because I love old Hollywood type of stuff. But this film sort of meanders, goes all over the place. Josh Brolin was good. He sort of carries the film for the most part. Scarlett Johansson just has a few throwaway moments. Yeah, I gotta say I was disappointed by Hail Caesar. Still a really good looking film. The cinematography by Roger Deakins was good. But yeah, disappointing script and storyline. So Hail Caesar, I gave a 6 out of 10. Alright guys, moving on to Thursday, July 7th, I watched Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, directed by Glenn Ficarra. Let me get this name right. Ficarra and John Requa. Yeah, sort of dramatic comedy starring Tina Fey as a journalist who, of course, gets sent to Afghanistan during the war and covered the war. She gets mixed up with a bunch of other journalists who seem to just hang out and party, and then end up somehow fighting alongside Marines as they try and stop the Taliban and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, an okay, decent film. Yeah, I like Tina Fey a lot, always have. She's good in this. Margot Robbie is good as well. I liked her role, and Martin Freeman plays a Scottish reporter who Tina Fey hooks up with along the way. Eventually he gets kidnapped, and then there's sort of a big rescue mission at the end of the film to rescue him. I really liked Billy Bob Thornton as the general. He's the one sort of showing Tina Fey the ropes as she goes along with these soldiers into battle, capturing footage. Yeah, it's an okay, decent film. Nothing too special, but I've always liked Tina Fey, and I thought she was pretty good in this. So Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, I gave a 7 out of 10. Alright, moving on to Friday, July 8th, I watched By the Sea, written and directed by Angelina Jolie, who of course stars in the film along with her husband, Brad Pitt. The two of them play a estranged married couple who go to a French seaside hotel to sort of get away from it all. Brad Pitt, he's a writer and a bit of a drunk. He spends all his days drinking in the bar and sort of chatting up the French locals. Meanwhile, his wife, Angelina Jolie, she just mopes around in their hotel room. She never like leaves their hotel room. They have a very sort of disjointed and combative relationship, it seems, and they're trying to take this vacation to sort of mend their marriage. The only sort of connection and spark that they make is through a hole in their hotel room, and they spy on the couple next door, a newlywed couple, and the woman is played by Melanie Laurent. So they spend their nights watching this couple have sex and hang out, and then eventually they hang out with the couple as well in the hotel room. And Angelina Jolie keeps accusing Brad Pitt of, "Do you want to fuck this girl?" and all this kind of stuff. And it's a very, very, very bad film. I thought it was quite terrible. Big fan of Brad Pitt. Angelina Jolie can be good on her day, but she hasn't been good in quite a while, if you ask me. She's a decent director. She's made a few films now, but this was not one of her best efforts, to be sure. But yeah, this film was really sort of very morose and quite boring. I hate using the word boring to describe any movie, to be honest. But the two of them just are not a likable couple. There's a couple of nice moments while they're watching this couple next door. But yeah, there really isn't much here. It's just a piece for Brad and Angelina to be in a movie together, basically, by the looks of it. I guess it did really badly last year when it came out. Yeah, so By the Sea was quite terrible, I thought, even though I generally like the people involved. So By the Sea, I gave a 5 out of 10. Alright guys, moving on to this past week. On Monday, July 11th, I watched Zootopia. Yeah, Disney film. Directed by Byron Howard and Rich Moore. Yeah, really sort of fun, bright, animated film about a young bunny voiced by Jennifer Goodwin, called Judy Hopps. She has dreams of becoming a real-life cop and move into the big city, the big, glorious, beautiful-looking city of Zootopia, where anthropomorphized animals live together in various kingdoms around the city. And yeah, really cool-looking film. Liked it a lot. There she hooks up with a fox voiced by Jason Bateman, who's sort of a calm man and a sly fox, if you like. The two of them hook up and try to uncover this conspiracy that may or may not involve the police chief and the mayor of Zootopia. Yeah, good voice cast. People like Idris Elba. Let's see who else is in this. Bonnie Hunt, Tommy Chong, J.K. Simmons, Octavia Spencer, Alan Tudyk. Yeah, really cool looking animals, and I liked Judy, the bunny cop. She was the sort of driving force of this movie. Some really beautiful looking scenery with the city itself and the tundra town or whatever it's called, and the rainforest part. Probably my favorite moment was there's a chase scene through the streets, and they end up running into this little city that's just from mice, and it's like this tiny little mouse town in the middle of this big city. So there's like big people running around and all these little mice running around in their little cars and stuff. So yeah, there's some good funny stuff in this film. Good bright animated comedy. Zootopia. Liked it quite a bit. So I gave it a 7 out of 10. Alright, moving on to Tuesday, July 12th. Excuse me, I watched 13 Hours, or 13 Hours the secret soldiers of Benghazi. Yeah, directed by Michael Bay, of course, known for his over-the-top, bombastic action films. But this is a pretty serious film. John Krasinski stars as Jack Silva, part of a elite military security force uh, who joins up with this group called the GSR. These six guys, and they go to Benghazi, of course, in Libya, following the 40-year reign of dictator, I forget his first name, Gaddafi. He was overthrown, and the Libya was overrun by warring gangs and Islamic militants and all that kind of stuff. Benghazi, the second largest city in Libya, um, and these guys are there to protect a U.S. ambassador, Chris Stevens, um, who's staying at a diplomatic compound, and nearby these guys are hanging out in a secret CIA base compound. But then, of course, on September 11th, 2012, the diplomatic compound was attacked by all these Libyan militants. Of course, Chris Stevens died as a result, along with three other American um, state and military personnel. And of course, it's become this big political thing, especially involving Hillary Clinton and all that kind of stuff. But this is really about the guys who were sort of put in this terrible situation and had to withstand this firefight over basically the night of September 11th, 2012. Um, these guys attack the compound, and then these guys try a rescue mission, and then they sort of retreat back to the CIA base, and then they get attacked there as well, on sort of multiple ways by these soldiers and mortar shells and all this kind of stuff. It's a really good-looking film, gripping film. Sort of reminded me of Black Hawk Down. There's actually sort of references to moments in that film how um, these guys are these CIA guys are on a budget now, and they don't have the air support and tactical support that those Marines did back in Somalia, Mogadishu. Yeah, really good, solid action film. Tough subject, obviously, especially still now. The debate about how it was handled and all that kind of stuff is still raging on. And the good film by Michael Bay. I mean, he gets slammed a lot for some of his films, probably rightly so. But this is a very strong movie. 13 hours. The Secret Soldiers of Benghazi. I liked it a lot. Really, really good film. I gave it a 8 out of 10. Alright, guys, moving on to Wednesday, July 13th. I watched Everybody Wants Some. Yeah, the latest from writer-director Richard Linklater. Of course, sort of the spiritual follow-up to his 1993 classic Dazed and Confused. Not on the level of that film, but still a really fun movie. Set in 1980 at a Arizona college, the weekend before college starts, and it basically about these group of baseball players, all these guys on the baseball team, partying the weekend before school starts. Blake Jenner plays Jake. He's like the new pitcher on the team from California. He's come to join the team, and the film sort of centers on him as he interacts with his new teammates. All these party guys who just like to have a good time and hook up with girls, that kind of thing. Yeah, good young cast. Not many names that I really recognize, to be honest. I think Tyler Hoechlin is the only one I recognize, and Zoe Deutsch plays Beverly, who is the love interest of Jake. She's like a art student, theater art student that he meets one day while they're cruising the parking lot of this apartment complex, and he like finds out where she lives and sort of stalks her, kind of funny moment. So yeah, it's just a bunch of scenes of these guys hanging out, partying, getting drunk, trying to get laid, that kind of good stuff. Yeah, it's got some great looking costumes. The guys with the sort of the '80s T-shirts and the short shorts and the big hair. Yeah, and you barely see them play baseball, but they have a Sunday practice right before school starts, so you do see some baseball scenes, but the whole movie is pretty much these guys just hanging out and partying the whole weekend before school starts. Has that same sort of dialogue and feel that Days of Confused does. Great soundtrack, that goes without saying. Lots of great music in this movie. Good looking movie, some good looking women. I wanted to see more TNA, to be honest. Days of Confused didn't have any nudity in that film, and this film barely has any. But this type of film, I was sort of hoping for more, to be honest. But still, I liked it a lot. I like these guys. These were fun guys to hang out with for the weekend. Yeah, so Everybody Wants Some, I gave 8 out of 10. Alright, moving on to Thursday, July 14th. I want to say I watched Eddie the Eagle. Yeah, directed by Dexter Fletcher, starring Taron Egerton as Eddie Edwards, Eddie Michael Edwards, who was affectionately known as Eddie the Eagle, who endeared himself to the British public in the 1988 Winter Olympic Games in Calgary as the first British ski jumper in since like 1928. 60 years to compete in the Olympics. I absolutely love this film. Fantastic movie. Taron Egerton. Wait, is that his name again? Sorry. Yeah, the kid who was in Kingsman, the Secret Service. He's just fantastic. He's this great, sort of nerdy looking kid who has this scrunched up face and glasses. All his life he's dreamed of competing in the Olympics, even though he had a brace on his knee as a kid. So yeah, he runs around trying different sports, growing up, driving his parents crazy, especially his father, who just wants him to go into the family business, plastering, working in houses. His mom is a riot. I love the mom in this movie. She's really supportive of his dreams of becoming an Olympic athlete. But then, of course, he sort of stumbles onto the Winter Olympics and sees that maybe skiing will be his sort of the door into being an Olympic champion. When the British Olympic team sort of shuns him from joining the ski team, in real life, actually, Eddie the Eagle was a decent skier. But then, of course, he realized, I'm going to be a British ski jumper. Obviously, nobody was on the team, nobody he had to compete with, and the rules on getting into the Olympics were very lax at the time. So basically, without any training or any experience, he goes off to Germany to learn how to ski jump. And there he meets Hugh Jackman's character, who's this famed U.S. Olympic ski jumper who's sort of fallen out of favor with his old coach, played by Christopher Walken, fictional character. And then, of course, they form a bond. He's hopeless at first, Eddie. He crashes and falls on every landing, basically. And yeah, eventually Hugh Jackman sort of agrees to go along with him and at least show him how to land his jumps, that kind of stuff. I'm not really doing this movie that much justice because it's so much fun. Taron Egerton is just absolutely wonderful. His spirit, his will, his drive to get to the Olympics is infectious. And like I said, his mom is great. Hugh Jackman's wonderful. The music is just fantastic. I absolutely love this movie. And I remember Eddie the Eagle the 1988 Olympics, both the Summer Games in Seoul, Korea, and the Calgary Winter Olympics were really my first memories of the Olympic Games. And the other things I remember from the 1988 Calgary Winter Olympics is the Jamaican bobsled team, of course, which was immortalized in Cool Runnings with John Candy in 1993. And of course, Eddie the Eagle. So yeah, as I was saying, I remember Eddie the Eagle from 1988. And he finished dead last in both events. He entered, of course, the 70-meter ski jump, the small hill as it's called, and the 90-meter hill. And the other sort of big moment from that competition was, of course, Mikko Hakkinen, the flying Finn, who's featured in the film as well, who won gold medals in both events. Yeah, this film was so much fun. I loved the performances. I loved the energy and the spirit. This film really captures what it means to actually be an amateur athlete and compete in the Olympic Games. And of course, the Summer Olympics in Rio coming up next month. So I'm looking forward to watching that. But yeah, I thought this was a great movie. So much fun. I mean, a lot of sports movies can be sort of overdone and manipulative, but I love this film. I put it on par with Cool Runnings. I mean, I had tears in my eyes through most of this film, and especially towards the end. The ending is just great. I mean, the film is very similar to Cool Runnings in a way, but yeah, I thought it was fantastic. Taron Egerton, great. Hugh Jackman, really fun as well. Must see if you know nothing about ski jumping or who Eddie the Eagle was. I highly recommend you see this film. And one thing I didn't know about ski jumping was that there's a 15-meter hill and a 40-meter hill. There's actually 4 versions of hills, and Eddie learns on those smaller hills at the beginning as well. And I didn't know that was the case when it comes to ski jumping. Sort of a interesting winter sport that not many people pay attention to, I'm sure. It's a great feat to watch guys just launching themselves off this ski ramp and sort of flying in the air with their body forward almost to the head like at the tip of their skis. It's an interesting sport to say the least, and guys who try it are obviously crazy. And Eddie definitely was crazy, and you gotta love him. Just fantastic. Absolutely loved it. Eddie the Eagle, I gave a 8 out of 10. So sorry I went a long time on that film, so it doesn't give me much to talk about the last two. So on Friday, July 15th, I watched London Has Fallen, the sequel, of course, to Olympus Has Fallen. Gerard Butler is the Secret Service agent who protects the president, played by Aaron Eckhart. So following a drone attack in Pakistan or Afghanistan where they kill a bunch of terrorists, there's a funeral for a British Prime Minister, and that brings together all these world leaders, and the father of this Islamic terrorist father plots his revenge by taking out all these world leaders who gather in London for this funeral. Yeah, just sort of delves right into the action right away. The opening action scene is actually pretty good when all hell breaks loose in London. Considering today's modern security standards and what we know of terrorists, how they get away with what they get away with in this movie is completely unbelievable, and that's sort of the point. But then, of course, the rest of the film is Gerard Butler kicking ass, protecting Aaron Eckhart through the streets of London, which was kind of cool to see London sort of barely occupied by people and tourists and that kind of stuff. But some good action scenes. I'd say I liked it a little better than Olympus Has Fallen. But when those two movies came out, Olympus Has Fallen and White House Down, a couple years ago, I liked White House Down better than Olympus Has Fallen. At the time, I thought it was just more fun. This film takes itself a little bit more seriously, Gerard Butler swearing and killing guys left and right. And this film is more of the same. But yeah, Morgan Freeman as the vice president back home, trying to keep track of everything, all that kind of stuff. With today's world events going on, the film's sort of a little distasteful, if you ask me, with its subject matter. But that's just the time we live in. This film really probably shouldn't have been made or released, but I still enjoyed it because I like action movies, and Gerard Butler is pretty good in this. London Has Fallen, I gave a 7 out of 10. Alright, moving on to Saturday, July 17th, I watched Allegiant, or the Divergent series, Allegiant, directed by Robert Schwenke. Yeah, I want to say that right. Yeah, Robert Schwenke. Of course, Shailene Woodley returns as Triss in the third installment of the Divergent series. After she's defeated Kate Winslet, Janine, in the second movie, her and her friends and four want to escape Chicago. So they climb over the wall to see what's out there. Then, of course, they run into this other futuristic city that's being run by Jeff Daniels, and he goes on and on about genetic modifications and experiments with people and cities and all this crap. Meanwhile, For's mother, Naomi Watts, is having trouble controlling her new regime as she executes people of the old regime, and she's getting into it with Octavia Spencer and her people. This film was pretty terrible. The Divergent films did not really lift it off, in my opinion. I thought the first one was kind of meh. I liked the second one better, Insurgent. I thought that was pretty good. But this one is worse than both of those. I thought it was quite terrible. Miles Teller, I like him, but he's doesn't have much to do except sort of turncoat on everybody. Yeah, Jeff Daniels, pretty decent as usual. I like Shailene Woodley, but these sort of films. So yeah, as I was saying, yeah, this Divergent series sort of piggybacking off the success of the Hunger Games and so on, and it's really just a poor man's version of the Hunger Games, unfortunately. Just not on par with those movies. I like Shailene Woodley, like I said. And Miles Teller, I like him a lot. He's a fun young actor. But the third one of this series is just absolutely quite terrible. It goes back and forth, and it just doesn't make a lot of sense, to be honest. And the big thing it was missing was Kate Winslet. And any film that doesn't have Kate Winslet, you know, is going to be a drawback for me, especially when she was good in the second one. I liked her in the second one. So yeah, anyway, Allegiant, I gave a 5 out of 10. So there you have it, 9 films over the past couple weeks. God knows how long this video is. Yeah, I should really try and keep these weekly, so I don't end up talking about 9 movies in a video. So anyway, thank you for watching as always, and until next time, I'll see ya.
Bond. James Bond.